Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I hope you're all doing well. Yesterday I saw people talking about one of Epstein's survivors passing away. A lot of people are like, this couldn't be. So, let's get into it.
Many Jeffrey Epstein's victims, Virginia Giuffre, got hit by a bus. And now she's saying she only has 4 days to live. And to be honest with you, I don't believe in coincidence. And I'm not trying to say anything, but this shit look real crazy. Matter of fact, look at this shit. So in a social media post, Virginia says she only has about 4 days left on this planet. She's basically saying that when she got hit by that bus, it caused kidney failure. And she won't be living too long. And that's kind of strange to me because he had two other victims that so-called overdosed in hotels. And if history repeats itself, because you know history does repeat itself, usually in Hollywood, allegedly, when people start making noise, they start getting ticked off a list and sometimes they overdose. What's even crazier is everything just went so quiet. What's going on with Giselle? Even them saying that Epstein isn't alive is kind of crazy to me. Okay, no problem. He lost his life in jail. Where's the Epstein list? When are we going to see who's on that list? What are these people trying to cover up? If they're trying to cover up anything, and I'm not saying that they are, but this right here, this doesn't seem like any type of coincidence.
Prince Andrew's accuser, Virginia Giuffre, has taken her own life at the age of just 41. The mum of three, who was trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein and accused the Duke of York of playing her when she was 17, is said to have died at her home in Western Australia last night. Police confirmed emergency services were called to reports of an unresponsive woman at a property in the Perth suburb of Neergabby on Friday night. Family said the toll of her abuse was so heavy it became unbearable for Virginia to handle its weight. Said in a statement today, "It is with utterly broken hearts that we announce that Virginia passed away last night at her farm in Western Australia. She lost her life to SU after being a lifelong victim of SA and Virginia was a fierce warrior in the fight and was the light that lifted so many survivors. Comes just weeks after Virginia, who was believed to have separated from her husband, was treated in an Australian hospital following a bus crash. She was charged with breaching a family violence restraining order in Ocean Reef near Perth on February 2nd, Western Australia court said, and due in court in June.
Some people are like, well, it happens, for someone to go through all these things, it's possible for them to do that. And others are like, absolutely not. So there's this reason, like suspicion, because the lady was hit by a bus. And she came to post that she has only 4 days to live, and only for people to find out a few days later that she allegedly took her life. So that is very suspicious, and it's got people talking. But anyway, let's get into what people have to say, and I'm going to come back and talk some more. Leave your own thoughts and opinions in the comment section. Thank you.
Another addition of she did not unalive herself.
So they really expect us to believe this? Prince Andrew's famous accuser Virginia Giuffre is dead, and it's all too convenient. Prince Andrew was not the only person Virginia accused of nefarious activity. But here's where it gets really seedy. When Giuffre filed lawsuit, she and her legal team submitted hundreds of pages of evidence. A lot of these pages were redacted. The US government was slowly unsealing them, revealing the names that were mentioned. People accused of participating in the abuse, people who witnessed the abuse and were around her, people who financially benefited from Epstein's activities. People originally called John Doe 1, John Doe 2, anonymous names, but they were slowly being released up until now. People like Bill Richardson, former governor of New Mexico, John George Mitchell, another very prolific American politician, Larry Summers, former head of Harvard University, Thomas Pritzker, American billionaire, owner of the Hyatt Hotel Group. Court filings suggested that she had knowledge that could implicate additional people, wealthy, political, and royal. There is still, and maybe now will always be, a hidden list of very powerful people. People have fought extremely hard to have their names sealed, and people have said Giuffre knew too much. She accused Alan Dershowitz of trafficking her, easily one of the most famous and powerful lawyers in the US, representing people like O.J. Simpson and Harvey Weinstein. She accused Glenn Dubin, who is a very famous American billionaire and hedge fund manager. She accused Jean-Luc Brunel, who did have many ties to Jeffrey Epstein because Jeffrey financed his modeling company in France. Now, she was in a really bad state dealing with the divorce from her husband. She wasn't in a good way to see her children. She wasn't allowed to see them at the time. But it is strange that she was fighting for her life just a couple weeks ago, and now she took her own. It doesn't make sense to me. She was outspoken and she paid the ultimate price, maybe for herself, maybe for others.
I just remember this picture because that's her in the middle, and it came out right after Prince Andrew was like, I don't remember her, I never met her, in that interview, remember, on the news. And then it's like, yeah, she has a picture with you. You knew exactly who she was. So it was really damning for Prince Andrew too. It was really sad that she couldn't get past this, but it was good that she was able to get justice for a bunch of the other people that were trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein. And remember, he mysteriously died in jail, and then she was arrested as well, this Ghislaine Maxwell. I don't think anything's happened with Prince Andrew. She was 41, and when she met this lady, Ghislaine Maxwell, she was 17 years old. So that's really sad, someone so young. What do you think about this?
A third alleged victim of Jeffrey Epstein is dead this morning. Now, you can say one might make sense, two could be a coincidence, but when you add a third in, you have got to start asking questions. This is Virginia Giuffre, and at 16 years old, she allegedly was working at President Trump's Mar-a-Lago down in Florida when she was recruited by none other than Ghislaine Maxwell to come work for them. Now, she alleges that when she did go work with Epstein as well as Ghislaine here, that she was SA'd several times by Britain's Prince Andrew. And here's a picture of the two of them together. This is another picture of her when she was 16 years old. Now, the trafficking victim did receive a multi-million-dollar payout from a lawsuit from the prince. And she became a very outspoken advocate against trafficking and SA, and actually was one of the biggest, loudest victims of the whole Epstein issue. Her family says she was found on her property, a farm in Western Australia, and she did unalive herself. Now, she was in the process of going through a very messy divorce, and apparently her ex-husband did have custody of her children, which devastated her. However, she did make a Twitter post, X post, whatever you want to call it, in 2019 saying that she would never unalive herself. So many people are questioning, especially since she is the third person who was an alleged Epstein victim to die suddenly within the past few years. So this is her 2019 tweet that she made saying, I am making it publicly known that in no way, shape, or form I have made this known to my therapist and GP. If something happens to me in the sake of my family, do not let this go away and help me to protect them. Too many evil people want to see me quieted. That was in 2019. Then just last month, she was hit by a bus going over 70 miles an hour. This is one of her Instagram posts on it, where she actually said she thought she only had 4 days to live. Y'all, that's bizarre, okay? 70 miles an hour, a bus struck her. And again, if she was the first victim, that would be one thing, but she's the third. This is Lee Patrick, 29 years old. She was found dead of a heroin overdose in a West Palm Beach, Florida, as you can see, just weeks shy of her 30th birthday back in 2017. Her family says that she was also trafficked and was a SA victim of Epstein back when she was just 16 years old. They blame him for her overdose and say that her life, obviously completely changed for the worse after that incident. Those incidents, I should say. And finally, this is 36-year-old Carolyn Andriana with her mom there. She also was found dead of an apparent rug overdose in a West Palm Beach hotel room. She allegedly was found naked and deceased on a bed with a crack pipe next to her and a baggie filled with white substance. Her husband says that the mother of 5 was sober at the time. She had struggled with drugs, but she was completely sober at the time. And they were actually living in this hotel room because they were in the process of moving from Florida to North Carolina. And she was in a very, very good spot in her life. Now, allegedly, she started getting SA'd by Epstein in 2001 when she was 14 years old. Now, her death happened in May, but they did not release anything about it until October because her family did want a full investigation. They do not believe that she died from an accidental overdose. Like I said, her husband said that she was clean and sober. She did struggle with addiction for years, again, blaming what had happened to her in the past with Epstein as a cause for that, which makes a ton of sense. But again, saying she was clean and sober at the time, they were moving to North Carolina. She had a very positive outlook on life. She had these 5 children, a very happy marriage, and it just didn't make sense that she would overdose. So again, 3 of Epstein's accusers, 2 of which died in West Palm Beach hotels/motels of ODs. One who apparently took her life, even though saying that she would never do so, seems a little bit fishy to me. And as always, I'm going to keep researching and digging into this, and we'll keep you guys updated on what I find. But I want to know what you guys think. Let's discuss in the comments below.
Prince Andrew's ex, Lady Victoria Hervey, has actually been called sick after her response to the death of Virginia. Now, she actually shared a link to the story on her social media and then put, "This is what happened when your lies catch up with you," which is bizarre from a woman who was quite happy to date a nonce but then turn against a victim. This is just such a classless response because at the end of the day, Virginia had 3 children, and the fact that you have to put that all over social media to smear her when she's dead is actually gross. Now, obviously, the internet is awash today with conspiracy theories about whether Virginia even took her own life or whether something happened. And obviously, it is a possibility that she has been silenced because we saw with what happened recently with her at the hospital in this top picture here, that she was obviously in need of help and she was obviously struggling. It's at this point you're most likely to come out with further information about Prince Andrew and other things that went on at Epstein's Island. What do you guys think about what Lady Victoria said? And also, do you guys think this was an accident? Do you think that it was suicide? Do you think that something more has happened?
So Virginia Giuffre just passed away, and this just reminds us how deep the scars of trauma can run. It's not just emotional, it could be physical too. It is actually, research has shown that early life trauma correlates with changes in how your brain develops, and brain scans have found that trauma often also correlates with differences in areas like the hippocampus, amygdala, and prefrontal cortex. These are parts of the brain that helps us with our memories, with our decision making, with our emotions. And survivors of abuse have actually shown a stress response that's out of balance when it comes to things like cortisol, which is our main stress hormone. That had showed up as either unusually high or unusually low. And over time, this kind of dysregulation can lead to high risks of anxiety and depression, and sometimes even physical health issues like heart diseases. And trauma also correlates with trouble turning off fear responses, which can make survivors feel unsafe all the time, even when they're actually out of danger. Science makes it clear trauma is always correlated with real changes to the brain and the body. And the right thing for us to do is help these people heal and be supportive and kind to them and compassionate. It's essential for their recovery, and it's just very sad news.
Breaking: one of Jeffrey Epstein and Prince Andrew's most prominent victims has just been found unalive. According to her family, she unaligned herself. You will remember Virginia because she is the one who sued Prince Andrew for SAing her, and she got a settlement rumored to be in the $16 million range. That happened just a few years ago. Her family shared the news with the world today, and they were sure to highlight the fact that she was the one who did it. Did they include that information because they were made to say that information? Because it is certainly very interesting how a lot of people connected to this case keep ending up unalive. We might even say that Virginia got Jeffrey Epsteined. I can't imagine that many people in certain places were too happy with her for having received a $16 million settlement from Prince Andrew. So maybe this was a warning. The message they wanted to send is while you may receive a settlement, you may not be able to enjoy it for very long. Something just feels fishy about this.
Lads, I'm sorry, I'm calling absolute bullshit. Virginia Giuffre, the woman who accused Prince Andrew of all kinds of bad stuff, who has been on the record for years as being part of Epi's network of transportation, New Ghislaine, the whole thing. She has now self-exited. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. You mean to tell me that this woman who brought Prince Andrew and the royal family to ill repute, disrepute, and also got paid to the tune of $15+ million has just gone bye-bye by self-deletion? And it's right before the Diddy case, and it's also right after Whitney Webb connected the Epi and the Diddy to get... It is the wild, wild fucking West out here, lads. I don't buy a word of it. She did not self-delete. I need details. I need tea. Sorry, I don't mean to say that in a disrespectful way. The woman has kids, and obviously this isn't tea, but like, does that not strike you as completely unlikely that she just like ended her... Watch the skies, darling. Watch them.
Honestly, I find it hard to believe that she will take her life, but then at the same time, these things do happen. You know, we hear a lot about people who take their lives, and people will be like, "Oh, they were fine, they were okay, everything was fine. They're supposed to be okay," because that's what we believe. But then for her to actually put out a statement saying that if anything did happen to her, then she didn't do it. That is making me believe that she couldn't possibly have done that. I mean, for somebody who was hit by a bus, like, wouldn't you think that somebody who is already aware of what is going to happen to her will wait for it to happen naturally? Why would she want to speed up the process? But hey, I may be wrong. It doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, but the other thing that I keep thinking about is that anytime I hear stories of people who survive something and the corporates are like the high and mighty in society, you know, the rich people and so on and so forth, and I hear that, oh, they were paid off and so on and so forth, the only thing that keeps coming in my mind is like, are they safe? Isn't anybody checking up on them? Where are they? What happens to them after that? Because whatever happens after that, they do that for the public to shut up, for people to stop talking, right? But then no matter what happens, you are on the list somewhere for them, you know. And even if you do keep quiet, you still have them at your back, because somehow they keep thinking it's only a matter of time for you to decide if you want to tell on them, okay? So it's just with these type of people, you can never win. You can never win with them. And it's so sad. It's sad that women have to go through this. May her precious soul rest in peace. And I hope that her family and her children are safe. And her family could probably be scared, and that's why they are going with she took her own life, and only God knows what they are going through, what they've seen, and why they are saying what they are saying. It could be that she wasn't, you know, okay, things were not okay with her. Maybe they know her better. It could be that they're actually telling the truth, and it could be that they have seen things that would make them go with that. All right. But anyway, like I said, may her precious soul rest in peace. And as for the rich and famous, well, I don't ever think that those people would ever get any form of, I don't know, consequences for their actions. I don't believe that, because it's their world. Yeah, I'm going to leave it here. Take care of yourselves. Leave your own thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you again with another video. Bye.